Empirical studies have proved that human capital is the core engine for economic growth and sustainable development. In executing its mandate, the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection has spared no effort to strengthen the labour sector in the country. The measures create a safe and healthy work environment for all by involving various stakeholders, including employers and workers. The Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services is constituted of two major divisions, namely, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration Division and the Work Injury Benefits Administration. Under the Occupational Safety and Health Administration Division, there are a number of units: the Field Services Unit, Prosecution and Compliance Unit, Workplace Registration Unit, Occupational Health and Hygiene Division, Institute of Occupational Safety and Health, and Occupational Safety Unit. The State Department for Labour in the Ministry deals with various issues relating to the welfare of workers.
The State Department of Labour is responsible for National Employment Authority, the National Industrial Training Authority, which is NITA, and NSSF, and the 5 departments that are there. One of them is DOSH.
Our first mandate, of course, is to promote harmonious industrial relations with between workers and employers. Number 2 is we have a mandate of connecting Kenyans to opportunities within and outside Kenya. Because of the high unemployment rates we have in this country.
Various legislations, policies, and procedures have been put in place to enable the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services to be able to tackle various issues affecting the worker.
We need to empower this directorate and even make it a state corporation. We also need to recruit more occupational and safety health officers to help us with ensuring that there is compliance in the workplace.
Kenya is a member of good standing of the International Labour Organization, ILO, and has been working together with the International Labour Organization for the improvement of the work environment.
The International Labour Organization has declared that health and safety of workers is their fundamental right, and we subscribe to it, and we ensure that the workers are safe in their working environments, both in government and in the private sector.
We receive a lot of support from the International Labour Organization, and there are multiple programs in which we are involved in terms of capacity improvement and policy and legislative reforms.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Protection has cemented this relationship through ratifications, adoption, and domestication of a number of conventions and protocols.
Our ministry, through the DOSH department, works with other stakeholders to ensure health and safety for workers, and they interact, they have sessions, they have seminars, and they're able to exchange and teach most of the employers on what they should do to ensure health and safety for workers.
The Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health Services, we call it DOSH, is a department in the State Department for Labour and Skills Development, whose main mandate is to ensure the safety and health of workers, both in public and private sector, as well as to administer work injury benefits to workers who get disabled following injuries and occupational diseases, and of course compensate families of those who unfortunately may die as a result of occupational reasons.
Through the Directorate of Occupational Safety and Health, we have begun the process of sensitizing the hustlers, especially those who are found in major towns. And with more funding, we can also extend that to other parts of the country. Much as sometimes our focus is on physical health, We also need to look at ways of ensuring that there is psychosocial support that employers provide to their workers and employees. That is going to minimize what I call today the other pandemic, which is depression, especially among males and male workers, and cases of suicide in some instances.
The safety and health of workers is provided for by two acts of Parliament: Occupational Safety and Health Act of 2007, while the compensation of workers who die or suffer disability as a result of their work is under the Work and Injury Benefits Act of 2007. These two legislations ensure that the workers' safety and health are guaranteed, and in case of any injury, compensation is given to the worker respectively. The two laws are undergoing review so as to make them relevant to changing times.
There are amendments which have been made over time, and there are also regulations which have operationalized the two pieces of legislation. But going forward, I think there are gaps in this legislation which we'll be addressing as a ministry. We'll be proposing to Cabinet and Parliament a number of amendments in keeping with the realities of today's workplace.
These initial two legislations were critical reforms because the Occupational Safety and Health Act was an improvement from what was there before, the Factories and Other Places of Work Act. Having brought all workplaces under the purview of safety and health and recognizing that all workplaces have inherent risks to themselves that make workers in that space prone to occupational accidents and diseases, the subsequent reform was to make the institution of DOSH more responsive to the new responsibilities that it has. So we are in discussions about making institutional reforms in DOSH and towards making it into a semi-autonomous government agency in the sense of an authority, so that it can have a deeper reach to the workplace, both public and private. As well as that, another critical reform relates to the administration of work injury benefits. For now, we have, through the Work Injury Benefits Act, we have a system of work injury administration, which at best we can call it liability-based. Liability-based systems of compensation are essentially geared towards you cost it, you pay it. And this generally causes a lot of workplace disharmony, in the sense that employers may find reasons why they may not pay, from the fact that this person may not have followed the instructions for which he was given at work to do the job. Possibly the person was not quite employed by the employer. Those are some of the two critical reforms that we are pursuing in our new legislations.
There are 40 prescribed occupational diseases defined in WIBA 2007, and other diseases that meet the criteria of occupational diseases may be included as well. Workers contracting these diseases in the course of employment or workers who die or suffer a disability are compensable under WIBA 2007 by the employer. Due to the acrimonious nature of compensating occupational diseases within the existing legal framework, the Ministry of Labour and Social Protection and its partners are working on a fund, namely the Occupational Diseases Fund, proposed to be contributory in nature, that will cover workers for all confirmed occupational diseases.
We want to move it more into a social insurance based system of work injury compensation, where employers pool funds into a fund and an injured worker is administratively taken through the process and compensated.
The safety, health and welfare of workers lies in the mandate of the State Department for Labour and Skills Development through its technical departments. The mandate of this State Department is to ensure there is harmony between the employer and the employee on various issues.
The Kenya Kwanza manifesto focuses largely on the hustlers, and that is mainly predominantly the kind of people we deal with here in the Ministry of Labour. The establishment of the Hustler Fund is one of the ways in which we want to support the hustlers. But more importantly, we believe that by building capacity and raising awareness of the Kenyan workers at the lowest level, they will be able, one, to protect themselves from any hazards or to minimize any losses that may occur. A lot of times, those who suffer injuries or who become prone to accidents are individuals who are not equipped with the right information.
The divisions in the Directorate include Work and Injury Benefits Administration Division, which receives, processes and administers work injury benefits, and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration Division, which is concerned with promotion of safety and health at workplaces. Under the Occupational Safety and Health Administration Division, there is the Occupational Health Unit, which is responsible for the medical surveillance and medical examination of workers, the Occupational Hygiene Unit, responsible for the assessment of the workplace for suitability for enhanced workers' safety, health and welfare, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health Division, responsible for research and training in OSHS, the Compliance and Prosecution Unit, responsible for the prosecution for non-compliance and general offences under OSHA Act, the Field Operations Unit, responsible for coordination of work of the county offices across the country. The Registrar of Workplaces Unit is responsible for the registration of all workplaces under OSHA. The multidisciplinary nature of DOSH helps it achieve this because of the fact that various professions are represented in the Directorate. For the Directorate to run its mandate effectively, there is a council mandated by law to promote the mainstreaming of OSH at workplaces. The National Council of Occupational Safety and Health, NACOSH, was established under the Occupational Safety and Health Act of 2007.
National OSH policy, the National Occupational Safety and Health Policy, was enacted in 2012. Obviously, a lot of things have happened since then. And currently we are discussing with our stakeholders, we include the most representative worker organizations and the most representative employer organizations, to relook at the National Occupational Safety and Health Policy to bring the new realities of the workplace into that policy and speak into how best to ensure the safety and health of workers in the spaces where they have chosen to work or where the employers have designated them to work. We had for a long time the issue of oil and gas, which of course brought new concerns for safety and health, which also we need to be alive to the fact that we need to put processes that ensure the safety and health of the workers who are going to be in this space as well.
Current membership of NACOSH is drawn from independent practicing professionals in the field of occupational safety at health, OSHS, appointed by the Cabinet Secretary responsible for labour matters, social partner institutions that are KOTU, FKE, NEMA, KEBS, KNBS, Government Chemist, NACOSTI and TVET.
Government works with other organizations, with other partnerships in ensuring health and safety for workers. And we are constantly in discussion with the representative of workers, KOTU, and the representative body of employers, the FKE, just to ensure the fundamental rights of a worker is embraced and it is also observed at their workplace.
The advent of the coronavirus, I may say, did not cause us a new challenge as much as expose the naked underbelly of the low levels of investments that workplaces have put in safety and health. And we realized the need for us to integrate the principles that are set out in legislations, issues like conducting safety and health risk assessments, the conduct of audits, the requirement to have a small committee for safety and health that constantly looks at the workplace and mitigates on the unique challenges that are there in each workplace relating to safety and health. That also showed that we were not quite investing in the same. And the issue of continuous training and sensitization on the need to have a safe and healthy workplace, and as well as having a clear policy that is alive to the risks that are there. Because safety and health has to be an ongoing conversation. Of course, the other challenge is the issue of today it's possible for you to order your food through an app, or even to order a ride through an app. Some of the apps are not even domiciled in this country. And as a cab driver, you can easily work for 24 hours. And you don't have a clear connection with the employer as such. So you really do not have anybody to ensure that you are safe in the space where you are.
Some of the challenges that we face here in the State Department is that, one, we do not have adequate personnel. We need to recruit more officers, as I mentioned before, for us to really have a safe and secure workplace for our workers in this country. So we'll need financing to support that. Our budget also needs to be increased to meet some of those challenges. And then facilities, we don't have adequate facilities. We can do with more facilities, more offices, more vehicles.
Workers and general public are encouraged to speak out in case of an unsafe working environment by reporting in the nearest OSH center in the county. OSH will work on the report in a confidential manner without victimizing the worker or a member of the public in relation to the report.
Any report you make to our offices are confidential. And the subsequent action, remember, our interest is to ensure the workplace is safe in whichever way we can. So we act on reports of hazards, even members of the public. You know, somebody can report, I've just seen somebody working on a building and he's just standing on the ledge. And there are things that the reporting can be an employee, it can even be a passerby, it can even be a member of the public. Okay, so the issue of victimization following reporting, we don't really see. And the legislation actually protects somebody. It indicates that you shall not be victimized. You can point out hazardous work, you can decline to work in hazardous settings, and you should not be victimized.
The ministry recognizes the fact that the informal sector constitutes about 83% of the labor force in the country. As such, it is taking necessary steps to be able to make sure that the worker in the informal sector is safe and healthy by implementing measures and standards set, including creating awareness.
A lot of times, those who suffer injuries or who become prone to accidents are individuals who are not equipped with the right information.
In terms of training, we have been discussing with TVET. You'll understand that in technical and vocational training, mostly people are trained about skills that are applicable in workplaces. And we are discussing about the need for OSH, your own safety and health in the workplace, to be an examinable unit that is given adequate time for these persons to integrate the issue of safety and health, both in the teaching as well as in the examination.
As we celebrate this year's Day for Safety at Work, the theme is boldly underlined as health and safety is a fundamental right for all workers.
In whatever setting you are, the first question you should be asking yourself is, am I safe?
In keeping with this year's Day of Safety and Health, I want to appeal for a safe and healthy environment as a fundamental right for every worker.